Buenas tardes. What happened? I'm sorry. Just got done recording a video in Spanish for Guyman. But good afternoon, everyone. I wanted to say, in my last video that I put out, the general video for everyone, I put out that I was going to talk about each mission, each location specifically. That's because we're doing things differently in Guyman that we're going to be doing in Boise City. Boise City is unique. It has very few cases, as actually I've heard today, right, that the case that you all did have is considered healed, and that you no longer have the coronavirus in the town of Boise City, at least verified. Of course, we don't hope that there's any cases, but we still have to take precautions, and also to make sure that we might have some people who are visitors, either from Kansas, Texas, or even New Mexico. In the case that we might be the first Catholic church to open up in the region, people might be coming to also receive the Eucharist. So we have to be careful. And it's not to say that we turn away those outsiders. We don't want to do that. But we do want to be cautious. We do want to be careful about this thing because it could come up. We don't know where anybody might have been traveling to, and he might have picked it up. Somebody who comes through town, and it's easy to happen. So we're going to take things specifically for Boise City, how we're going to have this. Now, as you all know, there at Boise City, you kind of have that L-shaped setup. You've got the short leg of that L being the original church part, and then you have the long L part off to the side there, where you have the section in what used to be the hall, the parish hall, and then we have the double doors past that into what is now the parish hall. And so that's kind of the long leg of the L. Now, during the Mass, we are going to follow the Archbishop's recommendations for how we're going to do things. So, of course, this means that every other pew is going to be shut off, roped off, so nobody can sit there. We're also going to have then tables set up in the hall so that people can sit at tables, preferably one family to one table, because we really shouldn't have any more close relationality than that. Probably have to move some tables a little bit to make it work right. Now, we're also going to have the Mass, after the Mass is said, we're going to take the Eucharist at the time of distribution. We're not going to distribute from the altar. I know this is kind of a little strange. What we're going to do is we're going to have the priest is going to receive, and then go and proceed as if the Mass were ending right away. I mean, it will end right away. But the bishop has given us permission to go ahead and have communion after Mass, so that it helps to facilitate things. So after the priest at the altar is going to receive, and then he'll say the final prayer from there, and we'll kind of have the recession out, except that the priest isn't really going to recess out very far. He's going to take the Eucharist, and he's going to go into the hall. Now, we're going to open up those two doors at the far end that go to the outside from the hall. The priest is then going to allow all those people who are in the hall area who are going to receive communion to come through the communion line. Only those who are going to actually receive communion are going to come through the communion line, not those who might receive a blessing, or those who so our Protestant brothers and sisters, if they were to come along, not them, not any children that haven't reached the age to receive yet. We're not giving blessings in the communion line. So as people are going out, they'll receive, and then they'll go out to their cars. Now, what I'm going to suggest to everyone is that they have printed off for themselves, and we'll offer up some options on our website of some prayers of thanksgiving. So it'd be really good that once you get to your car, to say together a prayer of thanksgiving out loud for the gift of the Eucharist, that Jesus Christ has come to us, and that we can now come back to Him and receive Him in this way. Then after that, after all the people have gone out of there, we'll also, again, everybody's staying 6 feet apart, right? We're keeping our social distancing. But then everybody in the old hall will come, and they'll receive. And again, as they're going to receive, and they're going to go out the door, back to their cars. Then we're going to let the people in the old church, the main church part, come out, and they'll go through the hall, and they'll also receive on their way out. I know it's a little strange, but this is what all the priests this morning here in Guyman, as we were sitting around talking about it, we discussed it, and this seems to be the best way to manage everybody. Again, keep your social distancing. We're not going to, of course, hold hands. Once you get outside, if you want to talk to people, that's fine. Keep your distancing. Don't group together. I'm going to encourage everyone, like the Archbishop said, wear your masks throughout the whole entirety of the Mass, except when you receive communion. When you come to the communion line, receive, as the Archbishop has asked us very earnestly to do so, that everyone should receive in the hand until this virus crisis is over. And so the receive in the hand, take us 2 steps to what's probably going to be your right, to receive the Eucharist, and then to make your way out the door. Of course, checking to make sure there's no particles of the Eucharist on your hand. If you see some, consume those. But then, walk out, make room for the rest of the people. It's going to be a little strange. I'm not going to say that it's not going to be strange. It's going to be strange. But we're going to make this through this. We're also not going to pass the collection basket. We're not going to take up a collection exactly. We're going to have a basket over there by the doors, and so that you all will have the opportunity to make your donations. Again, I encourage you, implore you all to be generous during this time, because the church has no other means than your generosity. We don't exist without your generosity, and so our bills, our things that we have to pay, has to come out of that. And we've been hurting a lot because we haven't had those weekly collections and those opportunities. Of course, we've encouraged everyone to give online that can and can set that up. But even still, we've fallen quite short of our real budget. So if you can, of course, understanding this is not payment for Mass or the Eucharist or anything. If you cannot pay, don't feel any shame in that. Don't feel any doubt or bad feelings about that. It's understandable. If you've lost your job, if you don't have the money, that's understandable. These are hard times for everyone, and we're going to make it through. But do what you can, and then make a resolution for the future to give when you can, when you're blessed with a job and with the money to be able to give to the Lord. Outside of that, we will have Father John Paul will be out there on the 23rd, on Saturday, to do confessions. If you want to meet with him for whatever reason, maybe you're having some difficulty and you just like to spend 30 minutes with him in a little kind of spiritual pep talk, a little spiritual he'll be happy to meet with you. Just contact him directly. He'll be out there for confessions and for a little talk afterwards, so feel free to come to that. Remember all of those kind of same general procedures that we talked about with everything else. Keep washing your hands. Keep healthy, everyone. Don't let your guard down. Boise City, you're doing great. We don't want to see anybody with the infection out there. So keep doing strong. Keep being strong. You are the example out there in the Panhandle of really doing what you ought to be doing. So thank you. With all of that, also just remember that we're going to need lots of volunteers. We're going to need ushers to help us, to help people keep their distance. So with this, can't wait to see you back in church. Can't wait to see you all. At the moment, we don't see any need to limit the number of people. We think with the parish hall, we should be able to accommodate most people. Of course, if you are feeling sick or you're feeling particularly vulnerable to the virus, we ask you to stay at home. Again, there is no obligation at the moment. You have all been dispensed from the obligation of coming to Mass, so it's not sinful for you to not come to Mass at this moment. In the future, of course, the dispensation will not be there. It'll be really clear, though. We're not going to just kind of like sneak up on you with it. So stay connected. Go to our website, check out the mobile app, stay connected. We'll have more for you. In the meantime, stay healthy, and God with you.